Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay, we got everything figured out. Once again, it's a Wednesday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by our friends at the Alberni Power and Marine RPM group. Jamal Mayers is going to join us now, former NHLer, so impressive as an analyst last week on Canucks broadcast, works for the NHL Network, joining us from St. Louis. Jamal, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Very, very well. You're in St. Louis. You're a kid from Toronto, and you're involved in St. Louis minor hockey. I hope I've got all that right, Jamal, but why is it that so many ex-NHLers, ex-members of the Blues end up staying and living in St. Louis after their playing careers are over?
Yeah, great question. None of us are from here, so it's kind of strange, but I think it's two reasons. One is obviously a lot of us married St. Louis girls, so the fact is that they love their hometown, and it's hard to get them away to go back to Canada or anywhere else. And the second reason is, quite honestly, the cost of living, great schools for kids, good community, not too big of a city. And so for all those reasons, I think it's been a great fit. I've been here since, 98. So it's been a while.
We're in Vancouver, Jamal. We're all from Vancouver, so you had us at cost of living. That's all you had to say, right there. Hey, Jamal, why has, and we see what the Canucks are up to and other players, but why has minor hockey been so successful in producing NHLers and just growing as a whole in St. Louis?
Well, I think that the foundation was set, as you mentioned, from guys like Basil McCray, Jeff Brown, Al McInnes, laying the groundwork, and Kelly Chase, really of creating a foundation and a template that's successful, and legacying and passing along that knowledge to the next generation of players, and having their involvement in coaching kids and having their kids play and coaching other kids. And then as they continue to have success, it creates a culture and a system that works. And so you're seeing that being passed on, and there's several players now that are coaching: Barrett Jackman, Andy McDonald, myself, Neil Komodowski. There's several guys that are still here that made St. Louis their home and that are coaching their kids, and everybody else's kid is a benefactor as well.
The Canucks might have been a bad example. They had a bit of an advantage given who their dad was, but I think people know what we're talking about. Hey, Jamal, you recently did a couple of Canucks broadcasts, and everybody in town here, just so you know, was really impressed by your work. When you watch the Canucks, what stuck out for you?
Well, first thing is they're a team that plays with a ton of speed. Obviously, they were kind of a shadow of themselves at the beginning of the year. It really wasn't working. And what's been amazing for me is the transformation that Bruce Boudreau has been able to do, instilling a sense of pride, a sense of belief, changing some structural things, obviously, but also empowering these young players to go out there and play on their toes and be unafraid to make mistakes. I think they have a great leadership core there, a group that, obviously had huge designs. Perhaps some of that may have been inflated by the structural changes to the NHL scheduling in a few years with COVID and so forth. But I think this group has the template to do great things. I think that it's pretty smart of them to bring and keep a guy like Luke Schenn around. I think that you can talk about what he isn't, but as far as his foot speed, but his ability to recognize a situation, to lead by example, to stick up for teammates, to understand when they get off their format for what works, and being unafraid to say things in the room. I think that having someone of his ilk has been important for that young group. But I think it's exciting. You have a great goaltender, some really good young pieces to build off of. And I just think culturally it's an organization that's really changing things in regard to D&I, and it's easy to be a fan of the Canucks for all the good they're doing both on and off the ice.
Jamal, you've played in Canadian markets. It's not a lot of fun when you're losing. There hasn't been a lot of winning here, but do you see the bases, like with the core, Pettersson, Hughes, Demko, do you see it's not far away that they can turn it around?
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Where are they on that evolution? And as I mentioned, I think that there might be a little bit of a, maybe it was a little bit inflated, the expectations perhaps. Where they are is, I think it's a playoff team. I think this is a team that obviously if they would have started a lot better, they still have a chance, but they would have certainly been in the playoffs. Are they a cup contender? I don't think that's the case. I think that they certainly have the pieces in there. I like their nucleus. I'd like to see them get a little bit heavier up top as far as forward-wise. They need a couple more guys, I think, in the top 9 that actually can push the pace and drive when the temperature goes up, as it did the other night in St. Louis. Maybe I'm misspeaking, but I feel like they didn't have a response for that type of game. And so I think there are some things that need fixed, but I think that this is a group that has a lot to build off of, a lot of really good young pieces, fun team to watch. Defense are all mobile. They activate. They're part of the rush. Their forwards are engaged. They're emotional. I love that part about their team. And they're fun to watch.
Jamal, I'm not sure if I don't think he was one of your head coaches when you played, but you touched on him earlier. What do you like about Bruce Boudreau as a head coach?
I love the fact that he's been able to adjust as the years have gone on. And so he's always been a player's coach, in my view. I never did get to play with him, but the sense is that he has a really good understanding of his players and makes a real concerted effort, which I think is important in today's game, to get to know his players. Gone are the days where you can motivate with fear. I think you have to let the players know that you care. And so I think he does a great job of balancing the ability to let the players know that he cares about them, that he wants them to have individual success, that it has to fit into the team success, but that he really goes out of his way, in my opinion, to make sure the players know what's expected of them when they do well. And when they don't do well, he still appears from the outside to have their back. And I think the players take notice of that.
Yeah, I think he's smart and he loves hockey, and it's really obvious. Hey, Jamal, before we let you go, what team, what coaching staff right now? Because really, when you talk about a Stanley Cup winner, it's a grab bag right now, especially in the East. Is there a team? Is there a coaching staff? Maybe Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay, Calgary, Colorado. Is there a team that really impresses you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to look at Colorado. Obviously, with their injuries right now, they're in a little bit of trouble, but the run that they've been on this year has been really impressive. I think that's the low-hanging fruit.
We lost Jamal. He likes Colorado. We did. You're having a great day today. Not just you, but us.
Yeah.
Some technical difficulties.
He left the
today.
Zoom meeting. Maybe you said something he wasn't a fan of. I don't know.
You have to push a button to leave the Zoom meeting, Ryan. You can't just...
Yeah, well, we had a bit of a problem, but you got the idea. He is really impressive. I'd like to have him on again. But he's going to talk about, he was talking about Colorado. The team that impresses me.
He's back. Do you want him?
Is he back?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Let's let him finish the thought there. The team that impresses me a lot is Carolina. When you look at their defensive record, they're number 1
goals
in the NHL.
Is unbelievable.
Goals against. Shots against, I believe, number 2 in the National Hockey League. Their PK is number 1. There's a whole lot there with Rod Brindamore and the Carolina Hurricanes.
And Rod himself is one of the best coaches in the NHL.
Yeah. We got Jamal back? Yeah. Okay. We got him? Yeah. Okay. Jamal, are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I didn't know that if someone calls, it kind of messes everything up. No. But no, I think I was answering your question. The low-hanging fruit, obviously, is Colorado, Calgary. To me, Carolina's kind of put themselves in that conversation as well. And you look at who could really do some damage, and I really like Calgary. I think that they're a group that I know it's hard to hear that because you're in Vancouver, but this is a team that's built for the playoffs, and I've always felt that officiating in the playoffs kind of regresses back 5, 6, maybe 7 years before. And they're built to play that way. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, they're heavy. They can muck it up if they have to. They have a great goaltender. Their special teams have been special. And they have a coach that understands and knows how to push the right buttons. So they're a team that I think no one wants to face. And the real unfortunate part of the way that playoffs are structured, in my opinion, is that it's forced teams to reevaluate their seasons. Because you could have a great season, get a terrible matchup in the first round and be out. And I think that's been tough the last few years, is that there's teams that you'd think if they win the first round, man, they can go right to the final. But it kind of makes you reevaluate what it is to get out of the first round.
Jamal, thanks so much for this. A few technical difficulties. Trust me, when it comes to technical difficulties and dealing with them, you picked the right show. So there's that. And thanks for rubbing it in about the cost of living in St. Louis. We really appreciate that. Thanks, Jamal. All the best. We hope to get you back on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet.